Hello, Internet. Could do something a little different today. I believe it's this cam. Yeah, there we go. What's this? Well, you see the description text. I actually got a couple masks made from a former student, Eliezer Martin, and they're pretty good. They come initially with longer ties, so you can tie around the back of your head. Although this one I customized for quick application to my ears and then trimmed off the rest. But I'll leave this one with long ones in case I ever need to do that. And we've used them a couple times now. Work pretty great. I've included information if you're in the Montreal area and are looking to get some cloth face masks made and you don't have the means. When we're out and about, it's important how you take these on and off properly. And I put alcohol in a little, like a perfume bottle, for spritzing them and sterilizing with 70%, just straight 70% alcohol. So that you can aerosolize the front with that and sterilize any contact. So when you take it off, carefully not to touch it, and then hang it and zap it. And that way, if you want to roll it up on itself, there's little chance of it coming off on things in your bag, etc. like that. Or if you have to use it again. But the one thing that I need to do is put a nose wire in these. Well, I've already done one for the pair that I got for her, so I borrowed some of her. This is like a modeling crafting wire. It's soft and pliable, got a plastic coating which will keep it from corroding and getting on this material. And so I'm going to just do a little sewing project. Eliezer very helpfully designed these so that they're actually invertible, which makes doing this a lot easier too, because I can just flip it, get all the way through. And why am I doing this? Well, two reasons. One, because this is a key detail that makes these face masks go from being a good idea to being actually a little more effective to preventing you from exposure too. So they're a good idea even, I'm just looking at my face here. I don't know how far do I want it to go. Maybe it's a little past. Yeah. So they will help reduce, just without this even, the mask will help reduce your chances of exposing others. And the rule of thumb should really be with this whole COVID situation to assume you are already a potentially carrier and you're trying to do whatever you can to keep it from spreading to others. So more than anything else, that's my motive. I think I want to work on that. And which feels a bit too sharp. Can I? How malleable is this? That sort of works. I think what I'm going to do is get my file. I think one of these are pretty fine, but I just need to slightly round and soften. Oh, yeah, that works. Exposes the silvery metal, but that doesn't matter. I'm not going to see this. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So these face masks are great to assume that you may potentially be a carrier and you just want to make sure you're not spreading it to others. But I also I'm a little on the high risk. I'm diabetic and I just started taking blood pressure meds for hypertension. I don't actually have really bad high blood pressure, but my blood pressure was getting a little up there. I am 49, you know, so that's what happens. Also, yeah, not really young anymore either. So just looking to increase my odds of not picking this thing up if I can help it. So this is working pretty good, by the way. It's definitely having desired effect, taking the sharp edges off. And if you can create a clamp around the nose area, that's one of the primary leaks in a cloth mask, the way it stretches across your nose. I have a pretty prominent bridge as well, so it's definitely an issue I noticed when I was wearing it. So I'm going to stitch this in. And I had the thought of, I'm going to try doing with this first one, I think it should work, of taking, these are actually some strippers, but I'm just using it to grab it. Is that going to make it small enough? Making a little loop. And that's going to do two things. One, when it's on my face, I want to have that pointing up so that I don't have a hard point against my face, but it's also going to give me something to grab with the thread and keep it in position a little bit. Yeah. So, let's make a decision about how to attach this. I can actually use the flap left by Eliezer. That's nice, to make a pocket. Sweet! So, no chance of it actually being exposed to my face directly. It's pretty good. The metal's pretty good because it does have a plastic coating, but a cloth cover is good, and this means I don't have to cut myself a pocket material to cover it with. All right. So let's conform it to the pattern. Should make it easier to stitch in for now, and then I can bend it to the shapes I need on my face on the fly. That's the nice thing about this sort of soft wire. So this is, if you're looking for a wire, I think the size of this is good. You could go for thinner probably, but it's got the pliability of like a soldering wire. It's not very stiff. It's stiff enough that it will hold the shape, but no more. You could also use something like, we were eyeing the ties that are attached to the top of coffee bags. You can take that off, and it's a double wire and a plastic strip, so it's sort of self-encased, and you could stitch right through the plastic strip that holds the two wires together, and that would work. I'd put that on the outside probably, although it would look a little bit low rent, shall we say. You can put it on the inside too, actually, when I think about it. That looks pretty good. I want to match the seam lines very closely for now, because right now my goal is to just stitch it into place exactly along the seam. There. I'm going to need to do that again for the second one, but I'm just going to probably record this first. And then sort of like one of my other motives here for recording this is I'm all for teaching survival skills. Everyone should come into this world with a lot of survival skills, and if you don't have them, pick them up. Which of these is a stronger thread again? Well, that's a pretty gentle one. Oh yeah, that's the strong stuff. Okay. I have a little sewing repair kit here, and rather than just buying new crap all the time, I always have gear to go, ready to go, to make small repairs, patch things, take care of stuff. As a self-employed artist, anything I can do to reduce my overhead and be self-sufficient is a good idea. There are a lot of neat tricks like rolling and stuff, but I almost always get the hole on the first try when it comes to threading a needle. Lots of practice and steady hands. So I usually tie one knot, and then if I'm looking to use the knot as the block, I'll retie it. But what I'm going to do this time is pass through my loop, through the same spot that Eliezer first stitched, and before I get too carried away, come around. Oh, that's okay. The loop's not totally closed. In fact, I don't even really need to trap that yet. I'm going to come back through. Again, same area that Eliezer stitched, and then under, before the knot, past my needle, and then now it's just locked to material and ready to go. And even before I get going, I can clean this up and get rid of my extra. Big key to my being able to survive as a freelance artist for 30 years, not 3 years, 30 years I've been doing this, has been doing my own house repair, my own basic maintenance, simple plumbing, simple electronics, simple construction. Also been handy when I needed a part-time job around then. When I was a teenager, I worked on renovating houses, and that was a great summer job and allowed me to pick up yet more skills. But as freelancers, it's incredibly desirable to have a broad set of skills, which these days, it's kind of goes with the maker culture. So there's even a whole nerd culture you can attach yourself to if you want to, which is cool. I totally have a workshop area. I don't have an actual dedicated workshop. I have a large studio, and then one corner of it. If you look back at my videos, there's a couple of peaks around, and I have an area of about 4 feet that's got a tool chest and all my gear, and when I need to, I can break it out. I have a table saw that I can't really use, and the plan is this spring to build a moving rolling caddy that's got it built into it, and also sort of replaces my current workshop setup a little bit. I'm going out the back now. Yes. So if I want to get fancy about this, I could have pinned this in first. That would have been maybe even clever. Don't want to... Thinker's on. So what I don't want to do is stitch these two sides together, closer together further down. What I want to do is bring that down over it. So I should start doing that as I'm stitching. Yeah. Sure, on this side. So make sure I'm clear. I'm not catching loop. Good. Once I get through this, I'll probably start using a slightly different stitch. Just thinking out what I'm doing here. Okay. Yeah. So it might be actually helpful to pin this. And you know what? It's never too late. I'm going to put a couple stitches in to lock that down. And then let's reach for my pins. Never too late to make your life easier. We just need a couple. Oops. There we go. Put that away. And that should be garbage. If you're a regular around these parts, you're going to be like, what? What's he doing? Is it a crafting channel? Is he sewing? Yes. No. And yes. And no. And yes. I think of art is very much a craft. I don't buy, hopefully, that now totally dated concept that like craft and the arts are different things and like craft is somehow lesser. But then I'm one of them sleazy commercial artist types. So, you know, what do I know? Reality is most fine artists I know are actually not that snooty at all. I totally don't make these distinctions. But that's the old stereotype. That's the old trope. There we go. I'll come back and clean that up once we have it in place. So now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch through and then intentionally loop back. And what that does is give me, I forget the name of it, but it's just going to catch. Oh, I didn't catch it. Wait a minute. There we go. Ah, damn it. It's dangling on things. Okay, there we go. See? See what it's doing? And it's tying onto itself. And it creates a little tackle. And I'm going to match Eliezer's stitches a little bit. Not stitching the exact same place, but I can see the stitches, and that lets me kind of measure how far I want to go with mine. Boom. And at this point, this gets very easy. Now that I've pinned it in place, I don't have to worry about trying to fuss with it, because that was the smart thing to do. And I just carefully do it. The one thing I want to watch for, especially because I have thread sitting around for a long time, it gets a little old, and I don't buy fancy expensive stuff, is that it can tangle and create knots if it twists too much. So I don't rush the stitches. Make sure they're drawing properly, and that you don't end up with, see that little extra one thread is coming through a little, oh, you know what I should do? I should turn on on this particular occasion, autofocus is probably my friend. So there's a little loop sticking out. So I want to even that out, just gently pulling and let friction grab on the side that is getting shorter. Tighten that up, pull it in place. Next stitch, and I can remove this pin. It's going to start getting in the way now. I probably don't need those now. I like sewing. It's very relaxing. I don't get into terribly complicated stuff. I've only tried making clothes a couple of times. It went badly. But that was back in high school. So, probably something to revisit someday. Oh, see, we got a loose. So one of there we go. The two strengths of thread that I'm using gets out of sync with the other one, and you end up with a little slack. So you want to watch for that. My wife does some pretty good sewing. She's generally like multi-talented crafter. She's working on model building these days. She makes little miniature houses and caravans and apartments and things. Going kind of crazy for the miniatures lately. We visited a store when we were in Toronto for the New Year's that was all for basically dollhouse supply, but it was impressive. Like, they had so much stuff. There was a lot for me to check out while I was waiting for her to pick through and decide what tiny things she was going to buy. Also had to, some of the stuff was very reasonably priced, but it's impressive, actually, what some of the miniature stuff goes for. I kind of get it, because it actually is a bit of work, and it's not like it's a market that's so huge that you can offset by volume. Plus, on top of that, it's a lot of it's handmade stuff. So, but still, I was impressed by how much some of the miniature stuff was going for. Almost missed my loop there, but I got it in the end. I know about 4 or 5 stitches, which is to say, not a lot, but it's about all I usually need to get the things I need to get done. And then those are the ones I don't have to think about to do. If I'm doing something a little bit more elaborate, I've used other tricks, but I'll look them up. I knew how to use a sewing machine as a kid. My mother ran a sandals shop, and we had huge industrial sewing machines that were kind of scary, and a nice black and gold Singer on a wrought iron stand, and the Singer, and also another little compact serger. This is a 70s serger, but still, it was an early serge, or I think it would have been a serge sewing machine. Looked like a serger anyway. That's how I remember it looking. I used them a few times, but I don't really bother with that most of the time these days, because most of what I'm doing is just modifications and repair work that I can hand sew quicker than it would take me to figure out how to set up and use a sewing machine. That's usually the thing. Like, unless you're doing a big elaborate project and actually creating a piece of stuff from scratch, or you have a sewing machine set up full time. What's happening there? There we go. I often find being dependent upon a sewing machine kind of keeps you from doing stuff, because you'll put something aside, like, I'll do this eventually, and then life gets busy until there's a quarantine and you have some time on your hands. So right now, hopefully your sewing machines are all set up. My stitch got all wonk-headed. Okay, so I haven't gone further. I can back up. I need to gently tease this. Get my fingers. that loose, get that loose. Get myself a little bit of distance here. See, I got caught behind my wire. Got caught behind the wire. Soldier behind the lines. So there we go. This is what happens when I'm talking and doing other shit while I should be focusing. There we go. Some of the biggest problems in my art class is demoing. I'm getting better at it, but drawing and or any other kind of focus-based task and talking, for me, are competing mental tasks. I think there are some people who are better at juggling that kind of stuff, but for me, the circuitry in my skull is not so good at that. I feel sort of obligated to talk while I have the camera on, though. There we go. My little flange is getting... Oh, it's gotten pushed over. That's good. So I'm basically done. I just need to lock it in. So let's do that now. How much have I got? Probably just enough. So I want to stitch down through the loop. And like that, and then down through here. And the idea is I'm going to come back in through the loop. And then, uh-oh, nope, nope, nope. Oh, it just came off because the loop's facing up. Dope. Best laid plans. Maybe I should have curled it the other way. That actually makes a lot of sense. And I still can because they're exposed. I'm going to curl it the other way. That's the nice thing about the soft wire. It's totally malleable and modifiable in this way. Okay, and I can go back and do the same to this one. We can get rid of this pin. And it is pretty well locked in, but I just got to tie these things up. So let's compress that now. Yep, that's good. This one a little bit. Did I overshoot? Slightly overshot. That's okay. So I can stitch back so that I'm not screwing up the bunching of things up. I need to get back about 1/2 centimeter. But I don't want to just throw a stitch all the way back a whole centimeter because then I'll just bunch up my cloth. And now Oh, that's right. I don't have to worry about this too much. I'm actually worrying about this a little too much because I forgot. I'm flipping this around and this metal will never be against my skin. So I'm not going to try to enclose that in the little flap of cloth after all, because I forgot about that. Just need to stitch it a couple times at this end and make a knot. This is a cotton, which means that the threads are fairly flexible, so I want to make a couple of knots on the same spot. And then I often like to go through again and through and knot some more, because I'm extra thorough that way. Redundancy. And that's hooked pretty good, so I don't need to do more to that side either, I think. And the only tricky part here is turning it back around, because I don't want to screw up the wire too much, so I'm intentionally folding it to push it through. And there we go. One face mask complete with nose wire. Did I screw it up? I don't think so. I think I got it. You can kind of make out on the back side here, you can make it my black thread, but that's okay. No one's going to see that but me. If you wanted to be kind of neutral about it, a gray thread would be perfect actually, but I only have black and red. And probably has some gray, but that's all right. We don't need that. So you tie up near the top of your head for the top thread string. Remember to make a loop so you can undo it. Oh, my loop failed. Let's try that again. It's like tying your shoes with your hands behind your head. It's a good thing I can do that. And there. Let's switch. So the nice thing about this trick is right now, I don't know if you guys can see it, but my glasses are steaming up, but if we did this right, now that it's on, I can conform my... Nice, perfect, it actually totally changed it. So it now fits my face nicely. Yeah, let's tweak some lights so you can see me better. That's good. And my glasses aren't fogging up anymore. Thanks, Eliezer. Masks have been good, and now they're super good. That's it. Quick little crafty DIY video. Not that quick, half an hour. There you go. Take it easy. I'm going to do some drawing later, but I'm not sure I'll be live streaming, so if not, be well. Have a good Sunday.